What's up to Lion Talk Live? We love you too, buddy.
What's going on, guys? It is Aiden Hutchinson.
What's up, man? It's your boy Amon-Ra St. Brown.
What's up, everybody? It's Calvin Johnson Jr. here, a.k.a. Megatron, a.k.a. First Ballot.
What's going on, Coach Dan at Lions Talk Live and the Duke Crew. This is Ball Hawk Ifeatu Melifonwu of the Detroit Lions. Everybody make sure you help support the YouTube channel Lions Talk Live by clicking that like and subscribe button. Let's get it and go Detroit.
Greetings and salutations to everyone out there in YouTube land. This is Dan Skipper, offensive weapon for the Detroit Lions. Make sure you all help support Lions Talk Live and Coach Dan by clicking on that like and subscribe button. Everybody, woo!
I love nothing more than watching Lions Talk Live every morning. Woo!
Well, greetings and salutations to everybody out there in YouTube land. I am your host once again, Dan Thornton, and I want to thank you all for joining me here today. Lions Talk Live morning show edition, and I think it's a pretty good morning to be a Lions fan. We've got just about, say a week, 8 days, I guess, technically, until the Lions return to the field. But as we probably are also aware, it's a great time for the Lions to get a little bit of extra rest, perhaps start getting some of their walking wounded back and getting back on the field. So in today's episode, we're going to be talking about, we'll go through 5 headlines now, but we've got 4 weeks to go, as we all know. We're going to talk about the Lions' remaining schedule. We're going to have a special guest here join us in about 15 minutes and start breaking down that final schedule that the Lions are going to face because, hey, yes, they do have 2 outdoor games remaining. One of them is going to be in Chicago. One of them, night game in San Francisco is not going to be too bad of weather, I would suspect. But other than that, you got 2 home games, 2 road games. Let's see what we can do with all that. All right, real quick, before we get the show going and rolling, if you haven't yet subscribed to Lions Talk Live, please consider doing so, making that push to get to 11,700 subs. And we are, about 90 subs away from that. So if you can help out with that, that would be great. Also, if you would, takes absolutely no time at all. Reach on down. Doesn't even cost you a dime. Reach on down, hit that thumbs up button, that like button. As you guys probably know, helps out the channel a whole ton. Last but never least, if you are considering buying or selling property anywhere in the great state of Michigan, you can give me a call or shoot me a text. You now see the number on your screen, 269-998-2384. Get a hold of me. We'll have a quick conversation, chat about how we can save you some money, save you some time, save you some energy on all the above. So reach out to me and we'll have that conversation and see what we can do for you. All right, without further ado, let's get this show a-rolling and a-going. Let's get on over to 5 headlines now. All right, so we've got the Sarge joining us in about 15 minutes or so, roughly around there. So we'll see if he can make this appointment and getting on over to us. But starting this off with the Lions' own NFC North not letting go grip, story by Vino Cericho of SI.com. Vito, excuse me. But he's not wrong. Lions own the NFC North at this point, and we all get it. Lions came out, they got a massive win against Chicago, an even bigger one, could argue, win against Green Bay Packers. And yes, I have seen across social media, all forms of media, Packers fans are pretty salty about this, and I'm not kidding at all. Some of them were upset because I guess there was a small bit of jawing or talking between Lions players. It seemed like mostly Kirby Joseph. And I don't remember the name of the Packers tight end, but as you guys probably remember, leading into this game, that Thursday night game, the Packers tight end, I want to say it was Kraft, and ran his mouth a little bit. Made a few comments. Maybe that's a better, more polite way to put it, about Kirby Joseph and the Detroit Lions overall. And I guess they both just happened to be going down the tunnel, exiting the field at about the same time. It was nothing heated, nothing like physical or anything, but there is a video out there of Kirby maybe responding to him about some of those comments. My take on it is, amongst other things, hey, if you don't want somebody to point out when you called them out or made your comments during the week, you don't want somebody talking back to you, you know what, don't do it. Don't light the fuse, I guess, early in the week with whatever you put out in media. And I don't remember exactly what he said, but yeah, anyways, I'm moving on from that. But as far as the rest of the NFC North, I think at this point you could say it's either going to be the Lions or the Minnesota Vikings that are going to win this thing. There's probably just not much room for, there's no room for Chicago to get it. And at this point, not mathematically impossible, but I'd say it's pretty dang near mathematically impossible that the Green Bay Packers will be challenging the Detroit Lions for the top seed in the NFC North. All right, Tim Patrick's catch his first 2 touchdown passes since 2021 helped Lions clinch postseason spot. And, I think if you go back and review the season as a totality, a whole, whenever that time comes, whenever the season's over in the postseason, we're all going to look back and say, man, that 53-man roster cut down day, it was a big day for the Detroit Lions. When they added Tim Patrick, because if you remember, we only had 4 receivers at that point, and there was a lot of question that, what are we going to do at receiver? We don't have another established receiver. Gosh, I even forget the kid's name, the undrafted free agent we kept and then eventually cut from the team, Isaiah Williams. That maybe he was going to be better than anticipated, but then Tim Patrick was added to this team, and slowly but surely, over the course of the season, you can see his impact grow more and more. There were mistakes along the way, learning opportunities, I like to say, but hey, Tim Patrick's been a real find for this team, and I think he's only going to continue to develop in this last month leading into the postseason. You got to pay attention to him. The guy's no joke. He can play. All right, did the Lions win Thursday night? Question mark. Here's what where Detroit Lions stand now, the Lansing State Journal. So I don't usually bring on the Lansing State Journal on the show, but I thought it was an opportunity to get them out here for once. So I wanted to do just that. They do bring up a bunch of topics in their articles regarding that. Lions, hey, they control their own fate from here on out. I think we all agree on that. Lions win out. Nobody can catch them for the NFC North, let alone the NFC number 1 seed overall. But with also that being said, Lions can really establish just this being a magical season. We have never, as Lions fans, seen anything like this. And the fact that you are 12-1 with 4 weeks left in the season, it is very possible the Lions could go into that final game against the Minnesota Vikings and not even care what happens. It's very possible. If Philadelphia loses one more game, I think if that happens, there's just almost zero chance that if Philadelphia and Minnesota both lose, that somebody else could catch us. Mathematically, is it possible? Sure. But the Lansing State Journal does a great job of breaking down in this particular story all the different scenarios that Detroit would have to face at this point. Let's not forget, according to ESPN betting guide or whatever, Lions now have an 80% chance to win the number 1 seed. And this story does break down all the different scenarios they're going to face in these final 4 weeks. They're also over those final 4 weeks. And yes, my voice is still healing and cracking, so I'm going through puberty or whatever. Lions are still going to start getting some guys back, and that's going to make that defense that's played pretty dang well this season going to perhaps get a little bit better. All right, Detroit Lions, Dan Campbell explains game winning gamble on 4th down versus Packers. Story by Dave Burkett of Detroit Free Press. Even though I murdered that headline, hopefully you guys get it. He breaks it down in a nutshell. Dan Campbell or Dan Gamble, whatever you want to call him, he just basically says, in his opinion, he did not want to give the Packers any chance to make a comeback. He believed in his guys. He believed in his team. He went out there with them, and he said, hey, we're going to do this and make sure they have a 0% chance. We're going to hit a walk-off field goal when time expires. And, hey, as a coach, I appreciate all the confidence and everything he had in this team. You set up plays, and when they work out well, hey, everybody's happy. When they don't work out well, that's when the blame game begins and such. But Dan Campbell continues to be himself, and here's what I'd say as a coach. Just be yourself. You're going to make calls. Not everybody's going to agree with it. At the end of the day, you're the one who has to live with it. So go with it, and that's what he does. You can hear even national media, even though yesterday, day after the Thursday night game, people in the national media were like, man, I don't agree with that call. I wouldn't have done it. It worked out this time. But if it didn't, well, the problem is it did. And, just Thursday alone, what were we, like 5 out of 6 on 4th downs, or maybe it was 4 out of 5, something like that. I think Gambling Man Dan's got a pretty good take on things. He's and his team supports him. You hear him talk about it and say, hey, this is our guy. We're doing it. Whatever he asks, he believes in us. We're returning the favor. All right, Dungeon of Doom. Detroit Lions focused on ultimate prize after sweeping Packers. MLive.com. At this point, you would have to say the Lions have faced adversity almost on a weekly basis since the start of the season. Remember the overtime thriller against the Rams. You think about the game against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. You think about the Minnesota game. You think about the Houston game. You think about the Chicago game. I mean, you get it. You go through a ton of the season, and yes, there are a ton of different times they overcame a big challenge. I actually think going down the stretch into the playoffs, that's going to help push this team forward in the playoffs because they've been playing so many close, similar games throughout the way. It almost becomes commonplace for them. So just my thoughts on that particular one. But yes, I think at this point, Lions aren't just thinking about the NFC North. They're not just thinking about the number one seed. They're thinking about the playoffs. Or excuse me, the playoffs and the Super Bowl, I should say. So, all right, we're going to move on from that to one more segment before hopefully the Sarge joins us here in about 5 minutes, and that will be, I want to go into real quick a little thing on Pro Football Focus, because I've got some issues, we could say. All right, PFF grades. I want to kind of, I always bring up the grades. There is value in them. I'm sure some of you guys enjoy them. Also, I think some of you guys hate them. I think some of this one, we're all going to have a little fun with it. So let's go ahead and put up the headline there. Martin Branch among the lowest Pro Football Focus grades against Packers. Story by Christian Bohr of Sports Illustrated. So let me just bring this up real quick. I'll go through the grades and I'll point out some of my questions about it. All right, on offense, Jared Goff has a 76. Tim Patrick, 73.9. Kevin Zittler, 72.7. Jameson Williams, 69.7. Graham Glasgow, 69.2. All right, lowest grades. Jahmyr Gibbs, 61.6. Dan Skipper, 58.3. Zane Zylstra, 57.9. Frank Ragnow, 56.8. Brock Wright, 51.1. Now, you're probably saying, Dan, these don't sound that unreasonable. Okay, you say. Highest Pro Football grades, defensive players, Ezekiel Turner. I do agree with this one. 91.8. So, again, he didn't play a ton of snaps, but when utilized, the dude was off the charts good. That's an elite level score. You won't find many that get over that. I mean, getting a 90 is tough to do. Getting basically a 92, man, you hit the cover off the ball. You knock that grand slam out of the park. Jack Campbell continues to shine, continues to develop. 85.8. Miles Adams, remember the guy they just got off the practice squad for Seattle Seahawks just days before? Came in a big way, especially with Lee McNeil going down early in the game. Miles Adams got a 76.8. Kirby Joseph, 71.1. Carlton Davis, 67.8. Now, here we go. Here's where I start getting some issues. Trevor Nowowski, 56.3. Fair enough. David Long, 54.7. I actually, man, when I watched him, I thought he played pretty dang good. So I was surprised by that one. Broderick Martin, here or there with that one. I thought he had some good plays, some bad plays. So I'm not going to challenge him on this one. A 43.5. Brian Branch, 42.9. I guess somebody would have to explain that one to me. Now, here's the one where I go, man, Pro Football Focus, their grades, at times, I don't know what compels them to that grade, one or the other. Pat O'Connor is the lowest graded defender for the Detroit Lions. And this dude was all over the field, I felt. I thought he was impacting the game left and right. They gave him a 36.2. So maybe there are obviously plays that I'm not calculating with my eyes as a coach or just someone watching the film. But I was dang surprised by that. And I was like, man, Pat O'Connor is your lowest graded dude. I'm stunned by that. But it is what it is. All right, guys, Dude Crew, let's get over now to the main topic of the day. All right, main topic of the day. Let's get into it. Brian, the Lions have 4 weeks to go. Where do you think we need to be at the end of those 4 weeks to, one, secure the North, two, try to have the number 1 or 2 seed, whatever you want to say, and then really have this team in a good position going to the playoffs where we can say comfortably, you know what, this team is ready to play. Yes, getting some walking wounded back is always going to help, right? You try to get some of your better players back. But just like we're talking about Ezekiel Turner, Pat O'Connor, other guys have kind of emerged. I actually think this defense is going to be even deeper, better when the playoffs begin because of all the reps you've now given to some of those younger developing guys. The other part of it is you've now also allowed some of those injured guys a lot of good time to rest, recover, get fresh legs, and going to the playoffs. Hey, everybody wants fresh legs. It's hard to find though this far into the season. So my question again to you guys is, what do the Lions have to do to get this race closed, to get to that finish line, to win it out? Who do you see as the biggest threats on the schedule? Let's remember, we got December 15th. The Lions are hosting at 4:25 p.m. I believe this one's on CBS, the Buffalo Bills. Now, December 22nd, just days before Christmas, Lions versus the Bears. December 30th, Lions at the San Francisco 49ers. And again, that's a nighttime game, 8:15 kickoff, Monday Night Football. It'll be a big one. And then the grand finale is going to be January 5th, Lions hosting the Minnesota Vikings at 1 p.m. I won't be surprised if that game's got any kind of meaning or juice to it, that thing's probably getting flexed to a later night game. All right, Duke Crew, you've heard me talk. I'm going to get to you guys in the comment section. Hopefully the Sarge does make it today. We'll see. If he's not here by 7:30, then I'm guessing he's not going to be here today. All right, and again, I'm still recovering from my voice and my issues, so I'll get through as many of these comments as I physically can. Michael D, greetings, salutations, Coach and Duke Crew, Superdome, Super Bowl, One Pride. Woo, woo. I'll go with all of the above. Let's see, JDC, good morning all. Hardy, heal up, injuries, injury updates. I don't have any updates yet. I'm suspecting either today or tomorrow we'll get some updates, get everything over to you guys, and go from there. But my anticipation is Lee McNeil's probably not going to be a big one. Jalen Reeves-Maybin is probably back sooner versus later. You're probably still, I don't know, a week or two away from getting Alex Anzalone back, amongst other people. But probably sooner versus later, you're going to see some dudes return here. Robert, greetings and salutations. Back at you. Stephanie, good morning, boys. Exclamation point. Love that we get to rest up before these final games. I'm hoping the 49ers have nothing to play for during that game. Maybe someone can beat Philly and Minnie too. Yeah, I'd say there's a real good chance when you get to these final games, especially since there'll be 2 games left of the regular season when we play the 49ers. There's a strong probability, if they're not really changing things in these 2 weeks leading into that, they may have nothing to play for. Maybe we can get a little bit easier contest there. See, Robert, bring on the Buffalo Bills. Well, you'll be getting them in 8 days. See, Robert, I agree. Stephanie, Minnesota, and Philly must be defeated. It'd be great if this weekend they both fall. Jessica, good morning, Duke Crew. I have a great day, Coach and all. Same to you. Patrick, greetings, salutations, Duke Crew, and Coach Dan. The Lions will not lose a game at home and will win out the rest of the way. I'll take that, man. Could you imagine that? 16-1, and you may just be barely getting the number 1 seed and the NFC North at 16-1. That's crazy talk. The nice part is you would be forcing, in that scenario, Philly and Minnesota to play each other in the playoffs. You would only have to worry about the winner at that part. Bo, good morning, Duke Crew. Can't get enough up on the line. Exclamation point. I see Super Bowl. Woo! I'll go with that. And yes, don't know if I can really do the woos or anything, but do what I can. Trey, hey y'all. Any word on Aleem, the Dream, and Branch? Branch, it sounds like it was just cramps. Aleem McNeil, nothing official other than it wasn't a concussion, just some sort of issue with the head. Until we get full disclosure on that, I'm just guessing what's going on. Man Bear, good morning. Danaroo and Scooby-Doo crew, exclamation point. I trust you're feeling better. Feeling better, but the voice is still recovering, although I do feel like it's better today than it was yesterday. Let's see, France, 11-1 and 4 to go. I'll go with that. Patrick, I think we may see our elite running quarterback, Crazy Legs Goff, take off a few times against the Bills just because it will be that wide open for him. I'll go with that. Yeah, it might be. And, hey, I've been saying it for a while. I think most of you guys have said it too. Goff this year is more mobile than he has ever before. You can see he worked on it in the offseason, and it's added to his repertoire a bit. All right, some people may not agree with this, but I think AG is in the same league with the late, great Buddy Ryan. I know when he first started here in Detroit, he had his detractors. Aaron Glenn did. But since that time, you can see with every year, especially this year, the growth and development he's put forth. JP, Lions rule the NFL right now. Who would have thought that in 2021? You're not wrong. Not wrong at all. Darcy, we need to a watch party for those games tomorrow, Coach. Laughing out loud. I won't be able to do it. Unfortunately, I've just got other things. Got some coaching stuff to do, and plus, I'm not trying to overly push my voice right now. Just helping it heal. See, JP Art, that is probably true, though he needs to do this longer to be equal. Fair enough. Yeah. Ryan was pretty dang good for a long time to come, but AG, he's done some real nice stuff, obviously, this season, last year, etc. Bo, AG is working with his rotation. Who are these guys? You're not wrong, man. There's a lot of guys. When I was talking about it with some people yesterday, there's a whole lot of guys out there that don't know who is who on this defense. Let's see, Jess, greetings, salutations. What's good, all? Question mark. Can't say this louder. Proud of this team. I would agree with that. Very proud of this team. Matthew, greetings, salutations. Good morning, everyone. Superdome, Super Bowl. Woo, woo, woo. She likes to woo. Yeah, she does indeed. See, Art, this may be wishful thinking, but I would love to see the Packers get knocked out of the wild card. I was at that 94 playoff game, and I'm still not over that one. Fair enough, man. Fair enough. Big Eddie, greetings, salutations. This defense will be tough by the playoffs, and most of the players are back. Yes, they are. Most of the players will be back. JP, and they will still have that stout defensive backups too, Big Eddie. They will. Brent, good morning. Dan and Duke Crew. I had us going 13-4 this season. We're already 12-1. Run the table, guys. Exclamation point, go Lions. Oh, yeah, I'll go with that. And yes, I love the picture, by the way. Let's see. Susan, good morning. Back at you. Growing up Detroit, I'm awake for the live stream today. Yay. Well, welcome into the live stream, and hopefully you're having a great day. Burger time. Woo! 12-1. Go Lions. Good morning, Dan and the man, and thanks for all you do. Anytime, my friend. I enjoy being here. Thanks for all you do to help out with the channel, Burger time. Good morning, Matt. Let's see. Rob. Greetings, salutations, Coach Dan and Duke Crew. The Lions are the grooviest, Daddy-O, and 12-1. Yes, they are. Burger time. Good morning, JDC. Papa. Great morning to you all. Same to you. Rob, did I imagine this at the start of the season? How could I? How could have anybody? But you know what? We are here, and it has been a fun ride. Matthew, Sheila likes to woo in the fresh morning dew. And how about a shot of that old dew and a hearty Sheila woo? You know what? How about we give you a one on 1, 2, 3? And there you go. Quentin, greetings, salutations. AG and Ben Johnson have put up some work this year. Yes, they have. Phil, good morning. Good morning. JDC, Lions Fanatic, Bird Time, good morning to you. And back at you. Rob, hit that woo. And Button and Coach Dan, the man with a plan. I try to have some plans every once in a while. Brent, seemed like every other time someone made a tackle, I was asking, who's that? No name defense for sure. Exclamation point. Incredible job by AG. You're not wrong. Yes, he's put forth a great job. Growing up Detroit, good morning to you all. Same to you. Sosimo would never have guessed we would be 12-1. No one did. Yeah. What we've done, man, is just, it really is. And late game situations, they found a way. They've just overcome challenge after challenge after challenge. And kudos to them, man. Kudos. It's been a great ride watching them. Phil, I mentioned many times the opening day starting lineup looked nothing like the Super Bowl starters. Probably very accurate, Phil, and good morning. Rob, I finally caught up on my sleep deprivation. Hey, congrats to you, my friend. JDC, Coach, in answer of your thumbnail picture, I figured the one loss was going to be to the Cowboys. All right. Yeah, well, I'm glad that didn't work out for you. Rob, never mind life would I imagine Lions victory would make me forget the Red Wings loss. There you go. And I'm glad it did. Help you get over that loss. Voltron, I figured we would have 2 to 3 losses by now. Yeah, I'd probably guess that's where a lot of people, if you would have did a poll at the start of the season, that's probably where most people would have had us, somewhere in that range at least. TD, good morning, guys. Hope everyone is well. Same to you. Oops, sorry, something happened there. Things got flipped around. Give me a second, guys. Got to go back towards the screen because, man, something just flipped all over the place. Sorry about that. I'm trying to figure it out. Trying to figure where we left off. Good morning, JC. Sorry, guys. All of a sudden, everything on the screen just flipped around. Cowboys, all right. Loss, all right. Good morning. All right, there we go. Phil, Green Bay media making such a fuss. Guess they don't remember what they've done to the Lions for a decade or more. Yeah, and that's the kind of crazy part. It just seems like I get they came in fighting for the lives. Green Bay Packers did. I get they probably looked over the defensive side of the Detroit Lions and said, man, they got nothing left. We've got this. All that's probably true. And I also think it's an overreaction by most of their media because I think they understand, they're not going to be the number one team in the NFC North again this year. I think they also probably felt like the fact that they couldn't beat the Detroit Lions when the Lions had all those injuries and just some guys off the street on defense, that's probably a very humbling, situation for them. Brent, Voltron Force, same here. Glad I was wrong. Fair enough. Let's see. Detroit Matt, good morning, Duke Crew. 8 more days till we are 13-1. I'm down with that, 100%. See, Matthew, good morning, Burger Time. JDC to anything cheddar. Yes, I'll go with that. Let's see, JDC. Woo! Or excuse me, Detroit DJ. Woo! Sorry, my bad with that one. But yes, Detroit DJ. Patrick, today is the day of remembrance of the day that was in 1941 that will live in infamy. That's right, man. It is, yeah. Pearl Harbor Day for those who don't get the reference. It is. Man, it's hard to believe, but yeah, most of people don't even talk about it or recognize it anymore. But I also get it. It was 80 plus years ago. Let's see. Southwest, y'all been posting before coach even start. Yes, some get here early to rise. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. Dan Skipper, the puke master. Yeah, does anybody know why he was throwing up after the game? Was he sick or just nervous or stress relief? I guess I never found that out. See, Robert, Darth Thornton. Yes, Darth Thornton is in the house, 100%. Doug, biggest thing is getting our main players back, Ansel Decker, and getting other fresh. Correct. Rob, not 100%, but sounds a little better. Yeah, it's getting there. It's getting there. Benjamin, so many people in the media criticize the MCDC fourth down call. Never concerning Green Bay, only thought was don't jump off sides, giving the advantage to our offensive line, which is already the best league. Yeah, probably about true with that. Dan, the Frog Thornton, yes, it is, man. The Frog Man is here. Let's see, Hookadoo, good morning, Dan, the Duke Crew, One Pride, back at you. The Trim Reaper, good morning, Coach, the Duke Crew. Woo! All right, let's see, Rob, good morning, JDC. Moonscar, good morning, Duke Crew. Same to you, my friend, and thanks for coming out to the game last night. For those who don't know, we played our arch nemesis or rivals, whatever, Vicksburg Bulldogs. I swear every game we play them, it's like a ESPN classic films. My time in Coach Champava, this is the 4th time we played, and they're all like nail biters. We won one last year, I want to say by like 5 points. Then we lost 2 heartbreakers, and then last night we lost by 1 point. Had an opportunity with about 10 seconds left, but unfortunately the shot didn't go. But yeah, great game. Great game for both teams. Burger Time. Good morning, brother Hookadoo. Hope all is well. Go Lions. Same to you. Doug, 4-0 division. Keep that Chicago game in view. 100%. And going into this season, I think most of us would have said this is the toughest division in football. And the fact the Lions have gone 4-0 in the toughest division in football, that to me, that speaks volumes about them. Rob, Patrick, the day Japan awakened a sleeping giant. Yes, they did. They probably regret that. Need to win in Chicago just as much as the last Thursday. 100%, Doug, 100%. You got to make sure you close this thing out. Good morning, Mr. Bergtime. Oh, yeah, I'll go with that. Let's see, Flathead, Duke Crew, do you want to face the Packers in the playoffs? I'd say at this point, just face whoever they put in front of you. Doug, if we are healthy, we don't fear the Packers. Yeah, agreed. Henry Moore, good morning, Coach Dan and Duke Crew. Back at you. Doug, Arnold should be peaking in experience by the playoffs. Yeah, he'll have a full season. I mean, in my opinion, at least, you can see how much Terry Arnold has improved amongst other players, not just him, over the course of this season. And he's going to probably continue to improve. I'd say that's realistic between now and the January. JC, good morning to you, Rob, 100%. Flathead, Colin Coward used to call Detroit Loserville. Pinch me, Lions are 12-1 in defending NFC North champs. Woo! All right, and you're right. It's not Loserville anymore. It's Winnersville. Detroit, Matt, the only good thing about these injuries is we get to see the depth we have and to see who we keep for next year's run, trying to stay positive. 100%, man, 100%. JDC, Tree of Destiny, I'll go with that. Doug, watching Minnesota this Sunday. I'm guessing there'll be a few Lions fans watching those games. Let's see, Rob, Green Bay fans whining about the officiating. Love it. That's the crazy part. I can't say as a coach, I've never complained about officiating, but like I was talking to somebody, was it before last night's game? And they brought up the fact I did complain. We were just talking about the team we played last night. I complained about a 32-second stretch in it, and they brought that up, and I was like, well, try to put it this way: bad calls go both ways. Go for your team, they go against your team, and it happens, all the time. The only thing I would say, and it's tough as fans, but just like as a high school basketball standpoint, I complained about 32 seconds. That also means there's roughly 46,000 other seconds during the course of the season I didn't complain about because, you play 32 minutes in a game times 24. I mean, you get it. 46,000 seconds. But anyways. All right. Well, we have a special guest for you guys. So we are going to go ahead and bring him on. And I'm thankful so I can give my voice a little rest. Let's go over to him. You know him, we love him. We're going to get to actually see him. We're going to bring out the Sarge, Tony Libretto. Sarge, what's going on this morning?
Good morning. What's going on? I having a little Facebook Messenger crap going on, so it took me a minute to figure out how to get on. But I'm here. I'm a little hoarse myself from cheering on the Army last night. They won their first college conference championship game. They whooped on Tulane Green Wave last night. So I'm pretty fired up for that. They got their first 11-win regular season. They're 11-1. A lot of parallels between them and the Lions this year, I think. They love to pound the rock. Their coach is just fires his players up just as well as DC does. And obviously the records are pretty much similar. It was a great fun game to watch last night.
Well, good for them and congrats to them. Let's talk about the Detroit Lions. They're 12-1. They have 4 games to go in the regular season. Sarge, what do you think we need to do with these final 4 games?
Well, obviously you'd love to see us win them all. I don't know the status yet, of our defense for next week's game. I don't know if anyone does really at this point, but honestly, I would say if they're not, if they're not full strength, maybe hold them out that Buffalo game, because at the end of the day, that game doesn't matter because it's not a conference game. We wouldn't sacrifice the number 1 seed if we were not to win that game. And I'm not saying don't play to win. Don't twist my words or anything like that. But going forward from there, Chicago, is going to be a tough game. They always play us tough no matter what their record is. San Francisco, who knows what state of mind they'll be in at that time. They'll probably be knocked out of the playoffs by then, but that doesn't mean they're not going to play hard. It's a Monday night game, in San Francisco. So I think it comes down to the last game of the year, actually. And I hate that. I hate that our number 1 seed and maybe even the division could come down to that last game of the year, having such a great season already. So it's definitely going to be an interesting way how they are, 4-game stretch, especially if they manage to win them all. It still could come down to that last game. And it's just crazy that there's so many good teams in the conference right now.
We went into this season, everybody talking about, the NFC North being the number 1, potentially at least the number 1 division. And that does seem like it's come to pass where, to be honest, Chicago, while they may not have the greatest record, a few things go different here and there, they win. And at the end of the day, they could have been closer to a playoff team than what they currently are. But Sarge, how much better battle tested do you think this makes the team heading into the postseason? The fact that you've got the toughest grind in the NFL, just winning your own division.
Yeah. Oh, I think that is going to help tremendously in the postseason. You've got all these guys dealing with so much adversity, and yet at the end of the day, they're winning these games. So I think that especially having a lot of backups, getting a lot of meaningful time right now, especially on the defensive side, obviously, that's gonna help so much in the postseason, especially getting these guys back in time, defensive line especially, and the linebackers, Anzalone should be back,
Right.
but even that being said, maybe they can rotate these guys a little bit more now, knowing that some of these backups and practice squad players can actually at least make I can't, they're not going to ball out like we talked about during the game. And I'm sure you've mentioned it on the show already, but you could tell the defensive line in the second half was dead. They were burned out because those guys are not, some of those guys are used to playing maybe 5 plays a game. And they're out there playing 30, 40 snaps. So, that wears on you. So, but now that they've gotten that experience and they're growing, I think that's going to help tremendously in the postseason.
Right. I couldn't agree more, man. I couldn't agree more. So now that it would appear at least there's some potential for the Buffalo Bill game for us to have some guys come back, get some of our walking wounded back. You mentioned some of the guys that have stepped out on the field, kind of had to fill in roles. Have there been any that really jumped off the page for you that say, man, this guy might end up being some, even when the other guys return?
Yeah. Well, I start with O'Connor. I really liked what I saw. He didn't really show up on the stat line. I think he had like 1 tackle for the game or something like that, but he disrupted the backfield so many times and forced Jordan Love out of the pocket or forced him to scramble or throw the ball away. Like he was a really big disruptor. Who was the other guy? Sometimes I don't even remember these guys' names because
it's tough to keep up.
I thought Turner made a couple of good plays.
He did.
Zeke. So I would say those two were the ones that probably stood out the most. I would definitely like to see O'Connor get more playing time, even when the other guys come back. And again, that's just to maybe spell those guys so they're fresh for the whole game. But yeah, those were two bright spots that I was like, oh, look at these guys. And I know O'Connor's kind of been with the team throughout, a couple of years or whatever. And I know they let him go. They brought him back, practice squad. Mm-hmm. But this is, I think, the last couple of weeks is the first time we've actually gotten to see him on the field, or at least as far as I remember. And I think he showed up.
I think you're right. And it's funny, you mentioned O'Connor. I think, him, Ezekiel Turner, those guys seem to jump out more and more. Pro Football Focuses, sometimes I really have to question them because they gave Turner like not just an elite grade, like a massively elite grade at almost a 92. Like almost the guy should have been walking on water with that grade.
Right.
But then they go to Pat O'Connor and they give him like a 30, whatever it was, 32, 34. I'm like, so that's like he had a pulse out there and he laid down or something. Because at least to me, I mean, again, I didn't break down the full film when he was in there, but like you described, he got in the backfield a lot. He caused some mayhem at times, and it seems like we've seen that in multiple weeks out of him.
Yeah.
Realistically speaking, in your opinion, who would you expect in the next, say week or 2, maybe 3, will return to this Lions defense?
Well, hopefully the defensive line. I thought I had read last week that coach said that Josh Paschal is probably a little bit further out than Levi. So getting Levi back, and I think Reeder I think Reeder will probably be back pretty soon, it sounds like. But now we got McNeil with the head thing. It's amazing that, the second half of the game, none of our opening day defensive line starters were on the field. It blows my mind that it's like that bad. But I think Levi and Reeder should be back. Paschal, it sounded like he might be back a little bit later. If you're looking at 2 or 3 weeks down the line, obviously, then hopefully they're all back. None of them are saying that it's a very serious injury, right? Like none of them are talking about we might have to put him on the IR or anything like that. So I imagine they would all be back within the next couple of weeks.
Right. That's why I'm hoping.
Yeah.
So now let's go on and talk about, hey, let's just Scooby-Doo this thing. Let's say we win the North. Let's just say we get the number 1 seed. Who do you think would be, in your opinion, some of the more ideal matchups for us in that opening game? I mean, whoever is going to make it out of the first round.
Well, I don't know if any could be ideal. Like, I think everyone in the playoffs is going to be a tough out.
Yeah.
With these records the way they are. I can definitely see our first game in the postseason being against Green Bay again.
Yeah.
Which is ridiculous. But if they, they would have to knock out probably whoever wins the West, right? So whoever wins the South is probably going to be the 4 seed. And if things play out how they are, Minnesota would probably end up playing them, probably whooping them. The 3 seed would probably be someone out west, either Seattle or Arizona. It looks like right now. Rams have an outside chance, so that means Green Bay is going to play one of them, and I think they outmatch them. And then so that means, as far as my math is concerned, at 7:30 in the morning,
Right.
that means
all right, man.
That means Green Bay would go to Detroit for the division game. So, and then the Eagles would play, assuming the Eagles beat the 7 seed, who's Washington right now, which could be a good, they've already beat them once, so they that'd be an interesting matchup too. But consider that, so then the Eagles would play the Vikings in the division round. That's what I think the 4 would be. Which blows my mind that 3 of the 4 would be from the North.
And that's crazy to think that potentially some of those teams, or that many teams from the North, could do that well. But I totally get what you're saying, and I think we could.
Yeah. I don't know if obviously beating a team 3 times in one season would be ridiculous, but that's the way it's going to have to be. They had every opportunity to beat us at our weakest point of the year, and they didn't. So I have to imagine once our defense gets better or healthier, I should say, by the postseason, they're going to be in a lot of trouble against us.
That's what I would, I think that's what most of us would anticipate now that we get guys back and everything. Maybe we make it a little tougher on them, but
yeah.
All right. So in the news this week, there's been more and more talk about. I hate talking about this, man, but it keeps popping up, and I get it. Aiden Hutchinson potentially returning for the playoffs.
Sure.
You've had a few different medical persons say he's way ahead of schedule. He's ahead of schedule. However you want to term it. I'm not here to say he will return. I'm not here to put a date on it, but. If it did seem like after the injury, you had Adam Scheffler from ESPN, amongst others, saying he should be able to return for the Super Bowl. But now you do have more and more in the medical world saying they think he could come back for the NFC title game. That's been also something I myself have been targeting. If you want to play in the Super Bowl, get him out there for the NFC title game just so he can emotionally, even if it's like 5 snaps, get him over the jitters of returning and all that stuff to help him for the Super Bowl, assuming they win the NFC overall. In the grand scheme of things, if the medical staff say he's good to go, are you, as Dan Campbell, putting him back on the field, and what role in that scenario do you think he would fulfill?
I think it's totally going to be obviously up to the coach too. But if Hutch is like, hey, I want to get out there, then I don't think there's any reason we shouldn't put him out there. And obviously that means he's been cleared by the doctors. That means he's been cleared by the whole medical staff, and shows on the practice field that he can move and do all that. And I don't think there's any reason why not to put him out there. I don't think it would be like, oh, we're going to endanger his future playing career. I mean, obviously you can't predict that anyway, but I say if he wants to be there and he's passed every test that they throw out there, then there's no reason not to put him out there.
Do you think he potentially starts?
We're talking about at the Super Bowl?
Yeah.
Or
not the NFC title game, but by the Super Bowl.
So, yeah, I mean, even like you said, even if it's just a ceremonial start and he does 1 snap and comes out, and then maybe plays a few more later, or like I said, if they deem him medically fit enough to be on the roster, because that's the other side of it, right? If they're doing it like ceremonial or whatever, that means someone else is not going to get on that active roster that could potentially make. I mean, I know obviously that'd be the 53rd or 50 I know they get like 5 extra guys or whatever. So, you know, it'd be the bottom of the line guy. But if you're only doing it for him to get a snap or two, then don't do it. Right. But if he's healthy enough to make an impact on the game, then yeah, start him.
Okay. All right. So in conclusion, you think the Detroit Lions' final regular season record will be
15-1?
How about 16-1?
How about 16-1?
All right, fair enough. They're going to cancel the final game. We don't need to play it.
Right. Yeah.
All right. Well, Sarge, why don't you go ahead and give everybody a shout out? Tell them about yourself. Give yourself some props and praise for coming on the show.
I see a couple of comments about me getting up today, so I appreciate y'all helping me out with that. So, like I said, I was up late watching the Army game last night, and but I had that alarm set, so I didn't forget. No, yeah, I'm just living life, you know, having a good time. It's gonna be a fun weekend of not watching football all day Sunday, I guess. For once, we're gonna go do some other stuff since the game's not on. But no, that's about it. I'm here. I'm happy to be back. It's been a while since I talked to y'all. I hope you're all doing great. Yeah, that's about it, I think.
All right. I think, well, you know, I don't know how many of us will be watching, but I know probably all Lions fans will be paying attention to Philly this weekend and Minnesota. Yeah. You know, hopefully they both drop off. If they both drop a game, that'd be great. All right, we'll go ahead and get out of here and wrap up this episode of Lions Talk Live so I can actually rest my voice a little bit more and help it heal up. But right. Hey, everybody, if you haven't yet subscribed, please consider doing so. Like I said, we're about 90 subs or whatever it was away from 11,700. So if you can help out, that'd be great. Also, it's free of charge. Reach on down, hit that thumbs up button, hit that like button. Otherwise, take care. Enjoy the rest of your day. Do something kind for someone you guys don't know. And we'll see you guys all on the next Lions Talk Live.
Excuse me, sir, would you... Donations to the Reverend Moon? Jews for Jesus?
Read about Jehovah's Witness? How about Buddhism?
Help Jerry's kids? Oh, yeah. Scientology?
Or nuclear power?